been a few years since we had Michael Tellinger on the program, and if you don't know who he is a research investigator in South Africa. He's written a number of books, most notably on the Anunnaki and these amazing rock sites that cluster parts of South Africa that run into the millions. And he has some new discoveries and some new, I want to call them telluric energy stones that he has discovered that we want to talk about. So, hey, Mike, great to see you, man. How you been?
Excellent. Good to see you, Cliff. Been a long time.
Yeah. Hey, I just want to mention you are excited about your rugby team getting into the finals. So, congratulations to South Africa for getting pretty far. So that's a lot of work to get to the championship level.
Well, look, South Africa is back-to-back world champions. Yeah, that's a big deal, a very big deal. So, we're just playing in the north. So yeah, I'm a big rugby guy, so I love rugby. So the
Yeah.
weekends during rugby season, weekends are my time to take off, decompress, and watch my rugby games.
Thank God. Yeah, fantastic. Well, let's catch up a little bit. I'd like to learn a little bit about the stone circles. What's been going on with those? You consider them, I believe you call them a form of a generator of some kind. But have you done any
Yeah,
follow-up research? Have you done any scans, any energy testing of these circles?
yeah. So Cliff, I need to just make one thing very clear. First of all, I'm an independent researcher. I don't have any money. The little bit of money that I make through my book sales and my tours and so forth all goes into either the Once More Town initiative or some research or preserving the ancient ruins because no one is preserving them. I'm the guy that's
Nobody's
doing a little bit
preserving
of
the
that.
ancient ruins, you're saying?
No one is preserving them.
There's
They're getting
no
destroyed in
society
this.
for ancient ruins in South Africa?
No, no,
Wow.
they've been destroyed. They've been destroyed at an unbelievable rate.
Wow.
It's depressing and upsetting. Anyway, so if all the research and discoveries that have been made in the Stone Circle ruins and at Adam's Calendar were done by accident with some tools that we may have had on us at the time, or flying a drone, and then the drone, you lose control of the drone. And when you start getting repetitive situations like that, you realize, oh my goodness, the energy fields from this are affecting the drone operation or utilizing your GPS inside the ruins and at Adam's Calendar, and you lose GPS signal time and time all the time over and over again. So you start to recognize and realize what to look for. Or when I've taken people on tour over the years since 2008, taken people on tour of the ruins of the ancient sites, and they happen to have some special device with them. And then before I know, they've got the device out and they're busy measuring something and all that. I go, "Wow, what's that?" I say, "Oh, I brought this along," and then we discover something by accident because
Oh,
I
weird.
didn't know they were bringing those devices with them. And then we
Oh,
measure it, and then we take some notes, and I take some photographs, and then those people move on. So I've had a few amazing, probably 2 dozen experiences like this, maybe more, of
mhm.
all kinds of different instruments and tools and equipment to measure the energies from the sound frequencies to the magnetic fields to the electromagnetic fields to the what was called the heat signature energies under the ground, the effects on the body. Actually, I must say I forget sometimes how much work I've done on this.
Yeah,
In
totally.
2018, let me put it this way. In 2018, I had what I called my Stone Circle Research Expedition, and I had 12 people here from all over the world. I think six of them or seven of them were from the USA, and then from Europe and Australia and so forth. And every day before we went out to the ruins to go and explore the ruins and do all kinds of measurements and photographs and look what we can find, we did about 7 or 8 vital body functions like blood pressure, temperature, iris response, blood sugar, the blood flow in your body with a special camera that picks up the blood flow in your body. So it's
Right.
like a thermal imaging camera. And we did it with 12 people before we went to the ruins and again immediately after we came back from the ruins. And we have, I can't say 30 days, but definitely 20 days of consistent measurements. So this is a real, scientific experiment that shows conclusively that exposure to the stone circle ruins is beneficial to your body and the physiology and your body's health.
Hmm.
unquestionably. So that was a big eye opener. At that stage, we already knew about the fact that the stone circles emit all these energies, and in essence, they are energy generating devices. That's what they
And
are.
would you say that that was an outliner benefit that you think was built into these stone circles, or is it just a result of them being these little mini generators all connected? That's one of the benefits of working and transmuting earth energy.
Exactly. See, you now, because you understand sound, resonance, frequency, earth energies, you immediately picked up on how these things work.
Yeah.
So, first of all, let me just take a few steps back. For people that don't know the Stone Circle ruins, please go to my website, michaeltellinger.com, or go to my lodge website, stonecirclelodge.co.za, right? Or ZA for your American listeners. Stonecirclelodge.co.za, and have a look at the visuals and all the stuff there, so you understand what the stone circles look like. Every stone circle, when you look at it from the air, it represents a cymatic shape, a cymatic pattern that represents a certain sound frequency. And that became very evident to me right in the beginning. When we realized that there was energies coming out of the stone walls and frequencies and sound and magnetic fields and so forth, I suddenly realized, oh my goodness, these stone circles represent the sound frequency that comes out of the earth at that specific point.
Mhm.
That's why each one is such a unique shape. And so, what are the earth frequencies? Earth frequencies are good frequencies. We want to vibrate and resonate with earth frequencies.
Right.
And the stone circles amplify the earth frequencies. So, that's a good place to be. So,
Right.
the moment you approach the walls of a stone circle and you go inside, you're now exposed to the amplified frequencies of Mother Earth. Whatever that frequency of that stone circle may be, it's an amplification of Earth frequency. It's
Mhm.
spectacular. So, whether you know it or not, the trillions of cells in your body start to vibrate with those frequencies and the various fractals and harmonics of that frequency.
Hmm.
So it is good for your health and good for your body. So the healthy cells vibrate and they get healthier, they get energized and charged. That's why people always feel so good after they've been inside the stone circle. They feel revitalized and energized and good and talkative and and your blood pressure is good, you've healed, and the diseased cells vibrate with the frequencies so they start to heal.
Right.
And so we've had hundreds and hundreds of testimonials of people since 2000 and probably 2008 or 9. I started to get people tell me, I had this problem or that problem, and after being in the stud circle with you, it's gone. That problem is gone. My back pain is gone, or my diabetes feel is better, or whatever the problem was. To the extreme, the most extreme one was cancer, full-blown cancer, where the woman, an American from Vermont, was going to die. She came on. This was a bucket list. She thought this was going to be her final visit,
Yeah.
final tour in her life. Then she went back to Vermont. The doctor told her, "What you been doing?" She said, "Well, been visiting these ancient sites." The doctor said, "Well, do more of it because your cancer is receding."
Oh
So
my
they came
God.
back the next year. They did another tour with me. She went back and her cancer was gone. So she
Wow.
came and told me this 3 years later at an event in Vermont. She came to my special event there to thank me for saving her life.
Hmm.
This is crazy stuff, So
Did you do any
you
basic
understand how it
measurements,
works.
Michael? Did you do like from the beginning, did you do like any little basic equipment register to determine that this energy was
Yes, we
emitting
did.
from these stone circles
A-
and you could see a
Absolutely.
fluctuation on some kind of a meter or whatever? I don't know.
Yeah. No, we had a very special device. At this guy arrived out of the blue, out of nowhere. And he had these very sophisticated, expensive, very expensive device. I mean, it costs like, 20 or $30,000 for this device, maybe
Okay.
even more. And it could measure sound frequencies in hertz, it could measure decibels, it could measure magnetic fields, it could measure electromagnetic fields. You just put it on the setting and then you measure that specific thing.
Hmm.
And he started to freak out. I mean, you plug a big like dish antenna onto it, like a satellite
Oh
dish.
my God.
So
Yeah.
no, this is proper equipment.
Yeah.
And so he was, you pointed at the walls and you just see the frequency that it's picking up from the wall, and it's sound frequency into the gigahertz. So now, Just think about this. Sound isn't supposed to travel in gigahertz in the air that we are in. So so what were we picking up? We're picking up the sound frequency resonance inside the stones in the walls, and as they were emitting out of the walls, and then it converts to magnetic fields. And
Hmm.
then he picked up the magnetic fields because the sound moves. So the stone circles pick up the sound from the ground. That sound moves through the walls, and that moving sound generates magnetic fields. This is a well-known phenomenon, well-studied and you know understood phenomenon. And those moving magnetic fields then create electromagnetic fields.
Hmm.
So we picked up all those sound frequencies, magnetic fields, and electromagnetic fields, all coming out of the stone walls. It's insane. And every stone circle we went to had different frequencies. And then when we came back to verify it sometime later, sometimes a year later, and several months later, we found that the frequencies changed. They're different. It still generates frequencies, but they're not the same measurements that they were previously,
Yeah.
which tells us that these machines are alive. They're pulsating, they're vibrating, they're not static.
Yeah. Now, in these circles, you found these, I call them donut stones or circle stones and different rocks. And you have a museum, you call the museum the Lodge. And
The Stone Circle Museum, yeah, it's at Stone Circle Lodge. I've got a Stone Circle Museum and a new one that still needs to be finished
right,
after many years. Yeah.
talk about this new discovery of the Taurus stones. Are these stone circles that you have had previously that you just discovered emit energy, or is this a whole new class of stone circle
So the Taurus
donuts?
stones are little stones. Here's a Taurus stone. This
Okay.
this is what is referred to as Taurus stones, or our mainstream archaeology calls these weights for digging sticks. Very ignorantly,
Where are they
tell
found, Michael? What part of the
them
country are they found?
all over Africa, all
Oh,
over in Africa.
everywhere.
Yeah. In fact, they found them in Egypt, that you find them in America, in Mexico, all over the world. But Southern Africa is where they became famous. They are famous because you also have Bushman rock art that show Bushmen hunting or doing all kinds of stuff with sticks and these stones on their sticks. So it tells us that the Bushmen 200,000 years ago, 150,000 years ago, because they've been here a long time, were already using these stones as aids to help them with their sticks and digging sticks or whatever they were doing with those sticks, hunting or foraging for food or whatever. But these Taurus stones are energy generating devices. They generate energy. They suck energy from the one side and they push it out the other side. And we've measured this very, very clearly with heat sensitive camera, thermal imaging cameras. It shows very clearly. You photograph the one side, it's blue and blue green and cold. It shows you the temperature, like 21 degrees Celsius. You turn the stone around, and suddenly it's red. Photographs red. It's emanating heat, and the temperature goes from 21 degrees to 42 degrees Celsius. There's a 20 degrees Celsius jump in the thermal energy from the one side to the other. It's spectacular.
Is there any
These are
intuition on what their original purpose was? Were they part of a larger machine? Were they part of a civilization's tools for inner knowledge, pulling down from the higher levels of reality or whatever? I mean, I'm just curious because it must have multiple functions.
Yeah, that's the elusive answer. We have so many questions about the Taurus stones. I don't think we have any real answers other than they generate energy and they obviously use that energy in some way. I suspect they may have used the cone-shaped tools with it to focus that energy.
Hmm.
And if you focus the energy into a cone-shaped tool, if you know what you're doing, you can create a Sazer beam. Sazer as opposed to laser. Sazer being a beam made out of sound, which is a lot more powerful than a laser beam.
Right.
So now we got seriously advanced technologies. You know, and
Yeah.
don't forget that among the stone circle ruins, the stone circles that we spoke about, that we measured the frequencies in the walls, among those, we have stone circle ruins that are built in the shape of magnetrons, these beautiful flower-shaped structures,
Right.
clearly magnetrons. Now, we've done some research in those structures, and they have a seriously disturbing and scary physical effect on your body.
Like what?
Just unbelievable, unbelievable. Well, it all depends on you and your health and so forth. So the last research we did or experiments we did, we went with a blood pressure meter and to measure your blood pressure and your beats, heartbeat, and then also your insulin level or blood sugar level and so forth. And I tell you, some people we measure before you go in, and then you go in and stay there for like 3 minutes. So everybody would be in there for the same amount of time. And come out and we measure blood pressure and heart rate and insulin levels and all that. And it was unbelievable. Some people could not stay in there for 3 minutes. They could not. They said, "Look, I'm going to pass out. I'm going to pass out. I can't. I've got to come out." Like within a minute, they would come out. We measure their blood pressure, and it was so low. No wonder they wanted to pass out.
Right.
Other people would go in there and they'd stay there for 3 minutes. They'd come out and their heart rate would be like 200 beats a minute as opposed to 70. It's insane. It has a profound effect on your body.
So no one's taken the Taurus stones and done any kind of analytical work, is what you're saying.
No, the Taurus stones, this particular stone that I just showed you saved a friend of mine's life. He had cancer. He had third stage lymphatic cancer, and he started to take chemotherapy, but he pulled out of it after five chemotherapy sessions. He said he couldn't do it. He felt like it was going to kill him because it's just so toxic in his body.
The
So he didn't
chemicals.
even complete half the course, not even half the course.
So tell
And
the story, Michael. So how did he come to you? Because this YouTube video you have up right now on the
yeah,
Taurus stone. You met him, and was it your suggestion to take the Taurus stone home, or
no, Martin and I started the Antiquities Research Institute here to try and set up a legitimate research company that was capable of getting funding for the
oh,
research into the stone circle ruins and so we started this company together. Martin's a very smart guy, incredibly smart guy. He made a lot of discoveries on his own because he thinks so outside a box and both left and right brain.
and he lives in South
Um,
Africa, around your
yeah,
area,
yeah,
I guess.
he's an hour away from me here.
Okay.
So he also, by the way, he discovered quasicrystals. That's a whole other thing. For those that follow my YouTube videos and that, he discovered quasicrystals that are hundreds of times bigger than the original quasicrystals that were discovered in, I think, 1981 in Russia. And then the guy that discovered them won a Nobel Prize, and nothing has been found since. Martin found quasicrystals here in the giants, in the larger area around Adam's calendar. So there's so much. Look, there's so much information and research that we've done in 18 years. It's difficult to try and explain it in one sitting.
Yeah.
That's why I'm doing more and more videos to get this information out there because it's mind blowing.
Yeah, we should
Anyway,
mention that
Martin
you
was
have a
just
YouTube channel now. It's very active, and I think you're putting out a video almost once a week now, right?
yeah, sometimes more actually. I'm trying to put out one,
Yeah,
more
Michael
than once a
Tellinger.
week.
Just go to Michael Tellinger on YouTube. You can see his videos are pretty good. So tell this. So your friend is ill. He goes to the doctor. He's given
Well,
a
I didn't know.
diagnosis
Look,
of.
first of all, I didn't know he was ill. So I brought this Taurus stone to him. He said, "Listen, can you bring one of your Taurus stones? I want to do some experiments with it."
I hear
Because
you.
he was doing experiments with the quasicrystals and getting, I mean, ridiculous results. Stuff that happens with quasicrystals blows your mind. I mean, these are superconductors. The entire scientific fraternity is desperately looking for quasicrystals. Well, we have a whole freaking bunch of them. We have
Wow.
hundreds of them,
What
and they
makes
are
crystals unique, Michael? What I mean, do they put out piezoelectric energy on a higher scale than normal
they
crystals?
do. They put out energies. The quasicrystals they put out energy. They put out magnetic fields. They're magnetic. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. They are truly unbelievable little gems.
And
Anyway, let's not get
are they
sidetracked.
found in crystal veins, or are they found just loose on the surface of the ground? Are they found in a certain part of South
If
Africa?
I tell you, I'll have to kill you.
Okay.
That's our special secret right now because we know where these quasicrystals are, and
Okay.
I don't. They must be worth a lot of like a lot of money. A tiny little, a match head quasicrystal is 100 times or maybe 50 times bigger than the original quasicrystals that were found. And I think they only found one or two or three of them.
And what do
And
they
then they
do with
went
them?
missing.
How do they use them?
Well, well, they didn't. They haven't. They make synthetic ones now. So in the scientific labs, they're making synthetic quasicrystals. It's like a little dodecahedron. So it's
Oh,
beautiful little dodecahedron. So it's a
okay.
perfect crystal dodecahedron structure.
There must be some application for it that we don't know about for in
Oh yeah.
industry.
Oh yeah. No, it's like it's alive. It's like it has consciousness. It's crazy. You
Wow.
see the video, when you see the video of this, so and I know we're getting distracted now. And again, and I speak under correction because Martin only showed this to me a few days ago when I was doing the interview with him about how this stone cured his cancer. Then he showed me the latest research he's done with the quasicrystals, and he showed me the video. He shines a laser beam into it, and it creates these ridiculous patterns. And then you switch the laser off, but the quasicrystal has retained the energy, and it continues to shine that energy.
Wow.
No, no, it's this is crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. So
Uh,
Martin is a very smart guy, like incredibly smart. And anyway, so he had the stone with him because he was doing all kinds of crazy experiments. He was
so,
putting wire, copper wire around it, and the kind of way that we think about energy and electricity. And then he suddenly realized that this stone has magnetic energy. It generates energy, and he had this special device that you use for underwater diving. And when you bring it to the stone from the side, it picks up nothing, no energy, no metal. No, this device picks up metal or magnetic fields. All right, and nothing. But when you put the little rod of this device into the hole of the stone, it starts to go off beep 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 beep, picks up a magnetic field. So it shows you the stone is alive. Anyway, so he worked with a stone while he started doing his chemotherapy.
what type of cancer did he have?
It was lymphatic cancer, third
Okay,
stage lymphatic cancer. So it was
lymphoma.
spread right through his body. Yeah.
Okay.
And and then he stopped. He stopped taking after the fifth treatment, or he may have gone for the fifth treatment and then said, no, I'm not doing it because he first wanted to see the scan, the PE, the full body PET scan, photon emission tomography. I think that's what it stands for, PET. And the doctor didn't even look at the scan, at the DVD or the CD to say, okay, the chemo's working, there's remission, or it's not working, we have to do this or that. The doctor just assumed the cancer would still be there, so they had him lined up for another treatment, and he said no, and he just pulled out the stuff. He said, no, don't even. I want to see the scan first. I want to know where I stand because
Yeah.
this stuff is killing me. It's like putting hydrochloric acid in my veins, and he didn't want to do it. And I remember him telling me how awful it was. And anyway, so I then basically the same week that he went for that scan, I took the stone back from him because I wanted to do some filming with it at my site here. And he went to that doctor and he went to his office and he put the CD in. And then the doctor started to look at the scan. Now, Martin explained to me that this PET scan, it literally scans your body like, layer by layer by layer. And you're looking at your body from your tip of your head all the way down to your toes.
Right.
And every layer of it, they pick up where the cancer is, where there was cancer, if you're in remission from cancer, or if it's getting worse. And you can normally see a cancer patient, it shows up that there was cancer, but it's now gone. So it
Wow.
shows you. And this doctor was looking at this, and Martin was looking at it with him. There was not a single sign of any cancer in his body. The doctor said he couldn't understand what was going on. It's like, and he said to Martin, there's no sign of cancer in your body. No sign that you have cancer. No sign that you're in remission from cancer or that you had cancer. There's just no sign of cancer anyway. It's wild. It's pretty wild.
That's amazing. And you
Yeah.
only lent him the stone for what, a week or so, and then you
No,
he
no,
gave it.
it was probably 8, maybe 10 weeks, 8 weeks, between 8 and 10 weeks.
So he had a chance to
So
really work it over
yeah,
and
it
use
was
it in
with him. And
some.
like he told me, he developed a relationship with the stone. That's what happens with people. And you develop a relationship with the stone. I'm
Wow.
starting to develop a relationship with the stone now because I've had it for, I think it's about a week. I've had it for a week exactly now, and sitting in my home office
Yeah.
in front of my books. And
So, what do you hypothesize happened with him? Do you think that he triggered a cellular reaction by simply, I don't know what he did. I don't know if he told you or not, but perhaps utilizing the energy of the stone for a few hours every day. Did he tell you that he developed a method of using?
no, he just said he had the stone with him all the time.
Mhm.
He slept with it next to his bed.
Oh, okay.
He kept it with him on the desk if he was doing something else. Sometimes he'd put it on his lap. Even when he went somewhere for a drive in his car, he'd say he'd take the stone with him and carry the stone with him.
Oh my. So did he have a physical sense of remission? Did he say, I'm feeling
Well,
better. I feel like I can do more
no,
activity?
no. He didn't think the stone was, well, that's not the impression that I got. I didn't ask him that question. And that's a good question to ask him. Did you feel that the stone was healing you while you had it? Well, he never brought that up. He never suggested that. He just said that he developed a very close bond and a relationship with the stone.
Hmm.
That's what everyone that's ever had one of my Taurus stones, except Nassim Haramein, because the stone that I brought to Nassim that crashed the TSA security system
I
in
remember
Doha in
that. You couldn't
2013.
get it through the TSA. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so we got it to Hawaii, to Kauai. I handed it to Nassim to do research with because at the Resonant Institute research lab that he had there, and he had some really good, talented people there. And I gave him the bloody, this is like the silver bullet, man, for studying toroidal fields, toroidal energy. This is the thing that the ancients were using to generate energy. And Nassim, I don't think he really understood. It just somehow the penny didn't drop for him. So he took it home and he had it at home on his fireplace, on his mantelpiece somewhere as an ornament instead of studying it.
Oh my God.
So, hey, it's a great pity that he didn't study it because I think they would have found amazing stuff. But it's good for me because I got it back, and now it's in the museum, and actually it's right over here. I've got it. I've
Yeah.
got three Taurus stones right here, and because I'm doing these documentaries for my YouTube channel and
Yeah.
my private video channel about the Taurus stones. Yeah.
And where did you find them, or were they delivered to you somehow? Where's their origin?
So some of them I was gifted from people that had them in their storage in their little room somewhere on a farm. The one that actually crashed the TSA security system in 2013, that one I handpicked myself from a guy's collection of artifacts that he had, and he died, and his widow invited me to come and have a look at his tools and artifacts and say, just take what you want because I don't know what to do with this stuff.
Oh,
Yeah,
Jesus.
and in hindsight now, I wish I'd taken more stuff because there was so much priceless stuff there. I like crazy stuff. And I only took three Taurus stones, two whole ones and one broken one, so that you could see what they look like when they break. What does it look like on the inside? So I took a broken one so you could see. And
Hmm.
one of those Taurus stones is the one that crashed the TSA security system. And then sometimes I get it from farm workers, guys who work on the farms. I say, do you see any of these stones? They say, yeah, no, we've got a bunch of them. I say, okay, next time, gather the stones for me. When you have 10 or more, phone me and I'll come and buy them from you. So I bought a few of some guys that work on farms, and that's how I've accumulated the stones.
How many do you have in your museum?
I have 36 Taurus stones.
Oh my God. That's a powerhouse of a museum. What do you think
Yeah.
is the design? You think that's a natural design, or they were actually carved into those donut shapes?
No, that's not natural. They were made out of rock. So a piece of
Okay.
rock was taken. It was either flattened, so it's more like a donut, and then rounded, and then they created the hole in it. How they did it, I don't know, because the hole is like a convex. It's got an hourglass shape.
Yeah.
It's a paraboloid. I think that's the word. A paraboloid shape. It's like an hourglass, and it's like a torus. When you look at the torus from the side, you got the two circles, and then the curvature of the stones.
Yeah. They don't
So
seem to
the
be,
whole
they're not machined. They look like they're naturally carved. You know, it's not like a machine carved.
something carved them, because to carve this by hand with a hammer and chisel, it's not possible. You can't do that.
Yeah.
So it must have been done with some sort of technology, machine, whatever word you want to use, that would create that perfect shape.
Yeah.
Because yeah, keep in mind that these stones are old. I mean, they could
That
be a
was my
million
next
years.
question. When you say older, do you think are there like 100,000 years or less?
Oh no, they're more. They're much older than that.
Some very
Like I
ancient.
said, we got images of Bushmen using these Taurus stones as ornaments and weights on their digging sticks.
Hmm.
So when our archaeologists say that these stones were made as weights for digging sticks, they're not they're not wrong in a sense, because that's how they were introduced to these stones, by seeing people using them as weights for digging sticks, and then the Bushman rock art shows these stones being used by Bushmen on their sticks. So they assumed, oh well, the Bushmen or the people in the Stone Age must have made these for their digging sticks. And that's the story they stuck with,
Yeah.
because they just, unless you're trained in energy, in electronics, in engineering, in technology, in magnetic fields, in toroidal fields, unless you're trained in that, how can you, as a poor little archaeologist who doesn't know anything about that, how could you possibly come to that conclusion? You can't, and you're
Yeah.
not going to. Even a geologist will look at this, and they can't figure out how these stones were made, because they were made at a time that metal tools did not exist. There were other stone tools, so they come from the Stone Age. So whoever made them by hand would have made them with other stones.
Yeah.
And then you start going, this is insane, dude.
Yeah. In Saqqara, Egypt, they have found these bowls and these plates and these vases that are carved from very hard igneous rock. And they were found also in tombs. And the feeling is that they're so old that the dynastics actually collected them. And it seems to me like these O-rings, these stones that you're dealing with, come from a much earlier civilization, and they could be parts of machines that were, pumping energy and generating fields of energy. And you have these engine parts that you're playing with that luckily have positive energy, you know?
Yeah. When we talk about advanced technology in today's world, we automatically go to shiny metal, intricate wiring, and copper
Yeah.
wire, and laser beam technology, and CERN, and like, and engines,
Silicon
and we that
chips. Yeah.
yeah, and we think that exactly like computers, and we that's what we think technology is.
Yeah.
No, that's ancient advanced technology is knowing how to generate energy out of nothing. Well, these stones generate energy out of nothing. Right now, as you look at it, it's sucking energy from this side, and it's pushing more energy out on this side. So this is an energy generating device, whether you like it or not. I'm holding an energy generating device. That's it. And
Yeah.
we can't create energy generating devices
Yeah.
today. Or we claim that you can't. You can't create, over unity. Well, every Taurus stone is an over unity machine. It's that simple.
Are you having a feeling that this could be Anunnaki technology, or is this more a lost
Yeah.
civilization that's so old there's no record of them?
It's a very good question. I'm sort of between the two. It could be Anunnaki technology, because it certainly comes from it goes back at least half a million years. Yeah, these stones are very old, and potentially the Anunnaki may have inherited it from somebody or learned it from somebody. The Anunnaki seem to be responsible for the stone circle ruins, of the stone circles, the construction thereof, and the use thereof. They did all kinds of experiments in those stone circles. They may have inherited those stone circles and then used them because they generate energy, and they knew how to utilize that energy when
Yeah.
they were still in their complete, proper, state, and not
Yeah.
ruined by floods and abuse and erosion and so forth. So it's a this is a huge subject, and the deeper you go, the more you discover, the more complex it becomes.
Yeah,
Really.
I'm of the belief now that because we are discovering energy generation technologies in the Maya pyramids and in the Great Pyramids at Giza, that we need to the archaeology needs to open a branch of energy study, telluric energy study, so that we can begin because we've gone with our current knowledge, we've gone as far as we can go. Archaeologists, because they don't get this stuff, they don't want to
No, no,
understand it, and if you don't have the training, you're just going to bypass it, and we're losing a whole science, this telluric energy science. We need to study this stuff because this is
yeah,
what the previous cultures were using.
yeah. Now, just keep in mind that this is just, like I said, geologists, our historians, anthropologists, and archaeologists, they're not trained in recognizing technology. It's just not part of their training.
No.
So unless they have their own hobby or an interest where they understand electronics and especially toroidal fields, magnetic fields, if you don't understand that, you just forget about it. You're not going to understand ancient technology because
Yeah.
everything to do with ancient technology is to do with generating magnetic fields, using sound frequencies, generating magnetic fields, and then electromagnetic fields, and using that in all kinds of interesting ways. And the tools they used, all kinds of tools, from very simple structures like the stone circles to the magnetrons among the stone circles to these donut-shaped toroidal stones, these Taurus stones. The focusing of those energies with the cone-shaped tools, focusing them. I mean, you've seen all those bird-headed winged beings holding the cones in their hands.
Yeah.
And then there's another cone on its, there's a magnetron watch on his wrist. So there's a cone pointing at the magnetron watch and another cone coming out of his hand. I mean, they
Yeah.
tell us what they're doing. But, how can these guys recognize it if they're not trained in electronics and study of energy?
Something to do with energy.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about Adam's calendar. We haven't brought that up for a while. That is a fascinating look. Are any of these stone circles, these stone devices found in Adam's calendar? And the other question, is there anything in the stonework that would be a support for one of those circles that you could place and they'd turn it on, you know what I mean? Kind of like a tool of some kind.
No, the stone circles are still working. They're still working today.
Oh, really?
They've never stopped working. They just pick up the frequency of the earth and they amplify it through the walls. That's it. And then somehow they push it up into the sky. They send it out through the channels. These channels, they look like pathways that connect all the stone circles together. So there's a highly complex network of millions of these stone circles ruins that
Yeah.
generated an insane amount of energy, all collectively combined.
Yeah, I mean, Adam's calendar kind of overlooks a valley, doesn't it? It's kind of
Yeah,
a
so Adam's
ledge.
calendar is really important and it's very interesting because it's obviously a machine as well. We've measured lots of energies there, very high frequencies, and in the gigahertz as well. And it overlooks the what's known as the Barberton impact crater, where there was a 3 billion-year-old meteor strike.
Right.
So there isn't much doubt about that. It's definitely a meteor strike like we see craters, but this is huge. This is like 28 kilometers across. So whatever that is, that's about 28 kilometers, probably like 18 miles or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's a huge impact crater, but I suspect that that original impact crater was a lot smaller. And that's where you found all the very high gold deposits close to the surface because of the strike. There seems to be an interesting correlation between concentration of gold and meteor strikes. Interesting. And this is why we have Adam's calendar there, which is right on top of an ancient gold mine, literally on top of the ancient gold mine. We have Sheba gold mine, which is right across the valley on the other side of the mountain range that was formed as a result of the strike. Sheba gold mine that is still today, if you go and research which is the richest gold mine in the world, no doubt Sheba gold mine is going to come up. And it's one of the oldest. It might actually be the oldest gold mine still operating today. Started in 1886, I think, and still operating today.
Still extracting gold.
Still extracting gold and is one of the richest gold mines on earth. Unbelievable. I could tell you stories about Sheba gold mine that'll make your head spin. what they found, and the richness of the gold there is insane. So Adam's calendar is right on the edge, surrounded by these ancient gold mines and more modern gold mines, which just discovered old gold mines, and looking down at the center of that impact crater, there are pyramids. That's where the pyramids are. So you're looking at these freaking pyramids.
Oh, really?
It's like you can't make this stuff up, you know?
Yeah. But when you look at Adam's calendar, what does the stone array look like? It's not Stonehenge. It's more
No,
like,
the stones are a lot smaller. They probably maybe 5, 7 tons.
but they're
Um,
arranged in a unique pattern or
oh, absolutely. It's a calendar. It's a
configuration,
stone
right?
calendar. Yeah. So it's first of all, it's orientated north, south, east, west. So they're cardinal marker stones, north, south, east, west.
Right.
Then they're marker stones for the solstices and equinoxes. And then the calendar stones right in the center. The north-south line goes right between the two calendar stones. The one is the calendar stone, and the one casts a shadow on that calendar stone, and that shadow moves with the moving of the sun. And it just so happens that the width of the calendar stone is exactly the width of 6 months of the sun's movement. So the shadow starts on the one edge of the calendar stone, and then it moves as the sun moves, and it ends. The shadow ends when the sun reaches its the solstice on the other side, and then it starts to move back. So you can still tell, every day and every week and month of the year on that calendar today. All you have to do is sit there and make the marks on it, and you'll have a calendar that works. So it still works, but it's badly destroyed.
But it's a calendar, it's a device for measuring seasons, but is it putting out frequency? Is it putting
Oh
out
yeah.
juice? Oh, you've
Oh,
measured that.
absolutely. More so, we've measured that, and it's stronger than the stone circles. It puts out a
Wow.
lot more energy in the stone circle. So, I suspect that mine, that entire Barberton crater, started out with the first impact site, which was a much smaller site originally, and I believe that that's where Enki started his first giant gold mine operation in the deep Abzu,
Oh, it's that
and that
old.
became that's how old it is. So we're looking at 300, 400,000 years ago. That's where they started to mine the gold, and there was just so much of it there that they mined it for thousands of years,
Hmm.
and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger as they mined, and then they put the calendar. It's a machine. I believe the Adam's calendar is a teleportation device, like a beam me up Scotty
I was just going to
device.
ask you what your feelings were. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's what they use it for. So the calendar part of it is just a built-in feature or a function. That's not what it's meant for. It's a machine, very powerful machine. It's so badly destroyed. Obviously, it took quite a while for me to put that together. And
Yeah.
there's a lot more there's a lot more about Adam's calendar, obviously. We don't have enough time to go into this. And that becomes its own 1 week discussion. Adam's calendar, we can talk about it for a week.
Yeah.
The the biggest surprise, Cliff, the biggest surprise at Adam's calendar, unquestionably. Just like it blew my mind when I realized that the stones in the walls of the stone circles are predominantly fossilized body parts of all kinds of creatures. Like, let that sink in. Okay, let that sink in.
Fossilized
It's,
body parts.
yes.
What does that
Fossilized
mean when you say on the
means
inside?
body. It means it used to be a leg or an arm or a brain or a head or a liver or a kidney or a heart or some body part, a piece, a steak of some giant creature, and then it turned to stone. And now you don't even recognize that it's a fossil. It's just a
Ah,
stone. And that's why these stones have such high acoustic properties, because they very densely, very high dense quartzitic value. All the carbon turns to silica, and then in between the silica, it's got all the iron from the blood in the muscle. So now you got a high concentration of iron and and a high concentration of silica, and the combination makes them ring like bells. That's why I call them stones that ring like bells. High acoustic conductivity properties. That's why they are built into the walls. That's why the walls of the stone circles are made of these stones with high acoustic properties, so they could vibrate and conduct the sound that's coming out of the ground. They didn't use inferior stone. They used
Yeah.
only high conductive or acoustic conductivity stone in the
That's where we
walls of the
left
stone.
off last time when I had you on, like 3 or 4 years ago. You were looking at organs that had been petrified into stone
Yeah,
in South
yeah.
Africa, and
So
you're saying that these circles were made from that stone
yeah.
composition.
So now just think about this. So they obviously used the petrified body parts in the walls. So those must have already been stones and petrified when the stone circles were built. So now we start developing an interesting timeline and when some of these stone circles may have been built. But it gets more complicated. It gets a lot more complex and complicated when you start looking at the kind of stones in the stone walls. Because some of the stones are the Hornfels rock, which are the metamorphic rock that was, an animal, and now it's a rock. Sometimes it's mud that turned to stone. I mean, we find fossilized plants and grasses inside these fossilized rocks. The rock cracks open by accident from the fires, cracks open, and you take the lid off, and you go, "Oh my God, there's a fossilized plant, grass inside there." So, this is not a rock. This was a piece of mud, and the grass was trapped in the mud, and then it turned to stone.
Yeah, I
But
remember being blown away because you were talking about these huge animals that were walking the earth and the organs and the skeletal remains that you find
yeah,
that are petrified.
yeah.
That's a huge, huge.
So here's the real mind twister for the geologists, and why the geology guys are not all over this from around the world is is an absolute enigma. It confuses me why they're not here in droves studying these fossils, because it is such an exciting and unbelievable new study. But so when we talk about the Hornfels rocks in the stone walls, that's understandable because these are metamorphic rock. It's Hornfels that are metamorphic rock. But the dolerite that makes up Adam's calendar, that's supposed to be an igneous rock like granite of the granite family, dolerite. Now, this dolerite rock at Adam's calendar is well recognized and documented by the geoscience textbooks and, the South African Geographical Society as dolerite that's sitting there on the edge of the escarpment. And Adam's calendar is part of it, also dolerite. And yet, we have scratch marks, teeth marks, claw marks, petrified of dinosaurs and all kinds of weird creatures. You can see its skin that's turned to stone. We have footprints, animal footprints, lion-like footprint, like a giant lion creature had left a footprint in some of these rocks, and other animals had left footprints. So clearly, this can't be an igneous rock. This is also a body part or some creature that were being eaten and devoured by other creatures, and then they turned to stone. And
Uh,
now we recognize them as dolerite. How did that happen? For me, if I was a geologist, man, I would set up camp here and figure out what the hell is going on.
wow, amazing. Hey, Michael, always a pleasure having you on the program. Give us an update on your YouTube channel and your activities and how people can learn more about your work.
Yeah, thanks, Cliff. So please go to michaeltellinger.com. That's my main website. But unfortunately, that website isn't very active because it's easier to put videos on YouTube. So my YouTube channel is very active. But michaeltellinger.com, you can sign up to be a patron. And then I also have a private video channel on Vimeo. You can get the link there. And so a lot of intricate stuff I put there to generate some funds for all this work. And then obviously my main interest at lately and at the moment has been the One Small Town initiative, which is really trying to turn around the terrible state of the world and helping small towns for people to unite, to cooperate, to collaborate, and bring prosperity and abundance to the small towns across the world, in all the countries of the world. And the One Small Town initiative has just exploded over the last 3 or 4 years, and we're sitting at a real break point now, where we developed a new technology with the One Small Town initiative in our what we call the Innovation Engineering Factory and Innovation Hub. We developed a new technology to recycle tires and plastic
Oh, really?
into a whole bunch of a bunch of commodities and fuels and carbon black and steel and gas and oil, obviously. So this is about to explode, and this machine has the capacity to literally clean up the world of all the tire and plastic pollution. And when I say that, I'm not kidding, because we made it small, we made it modular. It can fit into a 40-foot container. We can ship it anywhere in the world. Within 2 weeks, it's set up and can start operating. And we can just put as many machines next to each other as we need to process thousands of tons of rubber and plastic every week, every month.
What does it do
It
to the,
all
what
depends.
does it do? Is it heat it up and turn it into
Yeah, it's
liquid or what?
no, it's normal. It's called pyrolysis. So we developed a special machine, a special way to do this in a constant flow. So you don't have to stop and start. Once you start the machine, it keeps going. Just go to onesmalltown.org. That's our website. And this is really important. This is for the future of humanity. If we don't succeed with one small town and save our small towns and thereby start saving our countries and help and providing places of safety and refuge for people who've tired of living in the cities, we're not going to end up in a good, healthy place as far as the world is concerned. So the money from this is going to go to help set up the small towns and help fund the small towns. So this is not only about cleaning up the world from plastic and rubber pollution, but developing the funds to help kickstart the small towns so they can start their own businesses, grow their own food, and do everything they need to become completely self-sufficient and not dependent on rubber and plastic.
So as we conclude, are you giving tours anymore?
I'm not. I'm doing a little bit of work into the museum to keep the museum neat and tidy, and I keep doing videos. I try and do 1 or 2 videos a week for the YouTube channel about the ancient civilizations and so forth, and all the stuff connected to it. And there's so many subjects, but my main focus is in one small town, is to get that off the ground.
So no more book writing, I guess.
No more book writing. It's more important to provide solutions for the future than writing books. It's much easier to do a video, so it's a
Yeah.
lot quicker to do a video, put it out.
Yeah.
Writing books is a tiresome. I've written 4 books, and I've had to adapt 2 or 3 of them to new versions of them. So you can actually say 7 books,
Yeah.
and it's a serious process. And
Yeah.